AskReddit by throw a real quick. What invention has peaked been perfected to the point where it cannot advance any further? The mortar and pestle. Literally has not changed since the Neolithic. They're even still usually made of either stone or ceramic, same as they have been for thousands of years. I use mine all the time to crush garlic, ginger, and spices. So easy. And it's super satisfying too. The overhand knot. Lots of alternatives have been invented, but nothing has really happened since the day it was invented. With the exception of the left-handed inversion, which was likely invented the day after. The problem is when the overhand is the only knot people know and they use it in situations where something like a bowline would be far more appropriate. A spoon. Spork. Dice. Edit. This is just what the top answer was 2 days ago when this exact question was posted. It's not my original answer thought. Have we produced a perfectly random die yet? The paperclip, I guess. It hasn't changed much since they came up with it. It just holds papers together, and that's pretty much it. Deleted. Pencil. I swear if someone once again brings up the Americans spent millions on a space pen while the Russians used pencils, urban legend again. 1. Fisher developed the space pen on their own and then tried to sell it to NASA. NASA did not pay for development. 2. The Russians used grease pencils, very similar to crayons because you don't want floating graphite in a spaceship. It conducts in some conditions and it's very dangerous. Crabs. Taste like crab, talk like people. Mirror. Seriously, the precision and perfection of the mirrors on something like JWST is mind-boggling. String musical instruments. Hundreds of cultures around the world, and most of them came up with this guitar sort of shape and size using strings to make sound. Any sort of attempt to improve on it will mostly be diminishing returns. The advent of the electric guitar kind of stalled the development of the final acoustic guitar, I feel. You had the Selmer, the Archtop and the Dreadnought all trying to optimize volume, tone and playability. But they all kind of became fossilized in their designs after everyone went electric for amplification. I wonder what another 20 years might have done. The Dreadnought still sees some slow experimentation in bracing, or Taylor with their neck joints, and Ken Parker has made the ultimate Archtop his pet project after selling Parker guitars. I was just thinking about this. Speakers are kind of goated. 2 magnets just floating around, and if you pass the right electricity through it, it can make any sound. That's kind of wild. Like a speaker from the 80s can make all the sounds in music today even when the engineers didn't know that sound existed. Not software or driver updates needed. They just work. But there's tons of improvements still being made to speakers today. New materials, more advanced designs, entirely new kinds of speakers using different technology entirely. I don't think we're anywhere near the peak of speaker technology, and that's ignoring the massive impact of DSP in modern powered speakers. Straws. Now this one is going in reverse. They are getting worse. Razors. At least the stick kind. Adding 12 more rows of blades equals better shave at this point. Go double edge. It'll change your life. The aluminum can is surprisingly complex from an engineering perspective. Honestly, there's many things that are peaked. Even cardboard boxes can't be improved on at this point. As someone who worked in logistics with industrial cardboard boxes, I'd disagree with that one. Lots of different variations, applications, and innovations. Unless you are just talking about Amazon Mail etc cardboard boxes. Those of course are just a rectangular box. The safety bicycle. It replaced the penny farthing bicycle in the 1880s, and it's still the most common design. You can slap an electric AO engine on it, you can adjust the number of gears, the size of the wheels, etc. But the diamond frame with pedal-driven chain drive is just a winner. You're really abstracting it to reach cannot be improved upon though. Carbon fiber was a major improvement made not that long ago. You yourself mentioned the electric motor, and there's no reason to believe further advances can't be made in the future. It's like saying the car can't be improved because it's 4 wheels and some seats. Do post-it notes count? I feel like they've cheaped out on the adhesive for a few years, but at one point they were perfected, and maybe one day will be again. Dogs. Dogs are a human invention. And dogs are perfect. Go ask a veterinarian to describe a healthy pug. Flex sell trademark sign. I want to see a time travel movie where the Flex Seal guy goes aboard the Titanic, armed with $29.99 worth of tape and the heart of a hero. If food counts, I'd say burgers, cheeseburgers. I've had them every which way with different kinds of bread, cheese, meat, veg, and at the end of the day it's just a burger. I see your burgers and raise you pizza. I mean, look, tech is constantly evolving, but we no longer need a new iPhone every single year. I don't understand that argument every time it's used. Do we need a new Ford F-150 every year? No. But the person who bought one 6 years ago might want an upgrade this year, whereas the person who bought one last year doesn't need it. Do I agree with individuals who buy the latest and greatest every year? Not really, because it's wasteful, but it's also their money to do what they want with. But making a new iPhone every year isn't for them, it's for whoever might need it. A baseball bat, you can only add to it. False. You remove parts and fill them with cork for maximum awesome. Most of the stuff people mention can still be theoretically improved regarding resource efficiency. Once you develop new materials, the product could become lighter, thinner, or use less material overall. It could consume less energy in production or when in use. It could become easier to recycle or simply prettier to look at. One might argue that the question is not about materials, but about the product from a functional perspective. However, the choice of material can heavily impact the way a product is used. Generally speaking, saying something will never be improved is a very hot take. Many of the inventions we use today would have been considered absurd concepts not so long ago. Very much this. I feel like materials scientists will laugh about the BuzzFeed article that gets generated out of this thread. The humble transistor powers every computer, and we have hit the physical limit of small wires, and any smaller and you get into wobbly quantum weirdness, or electrons jumping. Maybe just the basic functionality of field effect transistors, I guess. But the way we are building them is still constantly evolving. Stuff that was just theoretical like 10 years ago, like gate-all-around transistors, are just now becoming reality, and there is still stuff in the pipeline like forksheet and nanosheet and complementary FETs. Nautical ropes. The crap, there are many iterations and models, but the principle is always the same. Have you seen Japanese toilets? There's bells and whistles you didn't know you needed. A crowbar. I just did a write-up for the person who said hammer, not gonna do another, but yeah, I have a bunch of them, all different, and they have gotten better with time. Better steel, individualized design. You don't want to use a pickle fork when you need a pry bar, but your pry bar isn't getting those ball joints out. Also, good news, pry bars are better than old ones. The steel is better.